it's like, you know, I mean, it's part of more like the storytelling element of the beginning. I mean, if you play an ego shooter, you know that sometimes you get hit very often, and then the screen goes black, not black, but red, and then you feel the pressure. But then you hide for 3 seconds, and all again, it's bright again. So maybe let's take it that way. So we just want to, you know, introduce you to the story that you know, she's dramatic, exactly. She's shipwrecked on this island, and everybody can hurt her, and it's not like, you know, here I am and I have my pistol and let's go and rock the island. It's kind of, you know, that's kind of a progression. And you also found out after the first 5 to 7 minutes when she climbs up that then the logo appears, so it's kind of part of the intro, if you like. So you can't die in the intro, or you can't just move that way in the intro, then everybody gets annoyed and say, what's wrong with my controls?
We have to find a way to show how dramatic it is without making it not fun, right? We looked into situations where maybe Lara would break bones or do things like that, and then you have to take a step back and say, yeah, that's realistic, but is it going to be fun for Lara to be running around with her arm in a splint or whatnot? So it's finding that balance between realism and fun play. And I know we're not going to go into the system in detail right now, but there are at least, you know, one instance in the game where you have to address a wound and it may affect how you move and whatnot. So it's something we're paying attention to and we're fine-tuning and getting feedback on, but it's introducing the game and introducing this very dramatic and dark scenario in a compelling way.
Can you say if there will be any interaction of Lara and other characters in the game, or will it happen only in the video sequences like with Captain Ross?
Is that a sort of way of asking about co-op again?
No.
Outside of cutscenes?
Yeah, yes, that's what I meant. Would you be able to talk to them or influence?
On the island. I mean, you've seen Roth, you've seen these scavengers. More than that, I can't really say. But the island is very mysterious. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot you're going to learn to discover about the island in the process. So.
And also, I don't know if it was not mentioned, but if you saw it by looking at the first kind of enemies, they were saying, help, come back. So that's really bizarre because they are attacking her and they're asking for help and come back. And it really doesn't make any sense. So it's kind of also an introduction of this hysteria about, I don't know, other people.
Yeah, you don't know much about the scavengers, obviously, early on. But they're dangerous and quite manipulative, as you can tell. You know, they're telling you to come back and I'm trying to help. It's, you know, the first time you fall for it once and then you learn better, so you know not to do that again.
Is it inspired by Lost?
It's definitely a original tale. So I mean, there's some elements of mythology in there that are pulled from real mythology, and then some of it is fictionalized, and you know it's crystals on story. But it's an original story.
Will there be any secrets or optional gameplay areas which are not required?
There's lots of incentive to explore in areas. I mean, it's one of those things where you can go straight to your objective if you want, or you can look around. You can try to find objects or hidden items or items for you to use. The game is not open world, but it's open in that we have a system of gear gating, like I mentioned. As you get more objects, you'll be able to access new areas, and so that'll provide a lot of incentive to revisit spaces that you've been. So whereas you might only be able to get in kind of this tertiary level of one area at first, and maybe you'll be a little higher and get into different areas and go exploring more. So there'll be a lot of incentive, and the great thing is that the island has relics and remnants from all different cultures and time periods. I mean, you see like a World War II battleship out in that scene, and then you see like a Spanish ship and airplanes, and so there's a lot of history there and a lot of mystery, so there's going to be interesting things to find, I think.
Ihr habt es vielleicht auch gesehen, als sie am Anfang, als sie rauskam, hat sie ja diese Wolfsspuren gesehen und hätte sie jetzt, gut, das war jetzt in dieser Szenerie natürlich so drin, aber hätte sie diese Wolfsspuren nicht entdeckt, hätte sie beim Survival Instinct auch nicht diese Wolfsspuren wieder gesehen. Also alles, was sie praktisch entdeckt, ist eine Erfahrung und diese Erfahrung trägt sie dann weiter und hat sie dann später auch im weiteren Verlauf der Insel. Als sie dann dieses Medipack holen musste für den Ross, konnte sie auch nur in einem bestimmten Rahmen klettern. Damit wollen wir nicht sagen, linear oder Open World, das gibt es eigentlich in dem Fall nicht, sondern als sie dann praktisch, sie hatte ein Ziel und das hat sie erreicht und das Medipack hat sie dann geholt und hat zu diesem Ross gebracht. Danach hat sie ja diesen Kletterpick bekommen, dieses Instrument. Mit diesem Instrument kann sie jetzt praktisch den gleichen Weg nochmal gehen, aber kann ganz andere Bereiche erforschen, weil sie natürlich wesentlich höher klettern kann, wesentlich weiter klettern kann. Und all das ist nur ein ganz kleines Beispiel, deswegen nennen wir das ja auch Tutorial, um eben zu sagen, das ist etwas, was euch immer wieder im Spiel begegnen wird. Und deswegen gibt es eben viele Möglichkeiten, Bereiche neu zu entdecken, in denen ihr schon wart, weil ihr eben jetzt eine Ausrüstung habt oder weitere Fähigkeiten.
You're probably not going to answer that question, but this island Lara stranded on, is it located in the Dragon Triangle by any chance? Because you just mentioned there being World War II planes and so on.
I don't know if we're talking
That's,
specifics yet, so
that's,
I'm going to err on the side
okay.
of caution.
Yeah, not as much.
Yeah, I'll err on the side of caution. I know we've talked about that it's off the coast of Japan and that they're looking for the lost fleet of the Kublai Khan. So that's kind of the setting that I can give at the moment.
Okay.
So. Although I think there are people who have taken coordinates that we've had in maps and mapped them out. So.
Great.
Oh yeah, you put any image online and someone in the forums will find a way to analyze it. And one of my favorite stories is there was a piece of concept art that had birds in it, and then there was a teaser in Edge magazine, and someone took the concept art that we had released and took out the birds and it compared them to the one in the Edge magazine. It was the only way they could tell it was the same, but you could tell because it was the same bird. So just this tiny little detail between a concept art and a magazine teaser. It was interesting. They were able to figure out it was the Tomb Raider teaser.
Well, that's good. I mean,
no, it's great.
You want to be honest.
Seriously, of all franchises, Tomb Raider fans are the ones that should be like that, right? Like they should be the ones who are digging and unearthing things and figuring out and solving. I think that's great.
So, I have a question. I mean, but by looking at Lara, maybe I'm just too die-hard fan of Tomb Raider because every time I see the trailer, every time I see the beginning of it, I feel with Lara. So I don't know. I feel with Lara. She touches me. You know. Is it for you the same? I mean, do you feel with Lara? Can you feel her? Do you accept her kind of gestures and die Mimik und die Gestik? Kommt das so rüber? Ist das gut für euch oder also?
Weil ich mich frage, warum sie am 4. Tag immer noch geschminkt ist.
Ja.
Das habe ich mir auch gefragt, ehrlich gesagt. Das ist mir auch aufgefallen.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
She's still
It's a permanent
No, so she's still pretty good looking, I think. Even when she's roughed up, she pulls off that kind of messy look pretty well.
So how much of this is motion capture? We have seen facial expressions and
The cutscenes, anything that's like a cutscene is going to be motion captured and simultaneously voice acted. So that's a really cool thing we're doing. So when you see Lara dragging Roth across the ground, our voice actress is literally dragging a full-grown man across the ground to try to make sure that she captures that that acting in that scene. So that's a lot of fun. Outside of the cutscenes, a lot of the animations are keyframes, so we have a little bit more control over it and can adjust it as needed. But all of the cutscenes will be motion captured.
Talking about voice actors, can you already say who will be the German voice actor for Lara? Would it be somebody we already know from
We haven't
other
even
games?
announced who the primary voice actress is.
Okay.
I like watching that thread. That's fun. That thread on the forums is fun to watch. Who is she?
Vielleicht machen wir auch wieder eine Umfrage, was euch am besten gefällt. Also, wir haben eigentlich immer so unseren Favoriten gehabt, aber das muss man sehen, dass es noch entsteht.
And how far is the development of the game at this point? Because there's still quite some time until it will be released. And
from my perspective, like, we don't really assign a number, like we're this % done. We still obviously have a year to go, and we're quite a ways out. So we've got a lot of work to do. I think that what we're showing is very impressive, but obviously there's some stuff that still needs tweaks and work in.
So there probably will be a game demo released before.
It's too early to talk about game demos all the time.
Okay.
I mean, we're obviously looking into it, so
Mm-hmm.
we're looking into it. It's just too early to tell if and when. And so we're looking.
Ist das etwas, was ihr befürworten würdet? Ein Demo vor Release?
Auf jeden Fall, ja. Also die nächste Frage wäre auch gewesen, ob es dann bei der nächsten Gamescom vielleicht eine zu spielen gibt nächstes Jahr.
Bei der nächsten Gamescom 2012 im August, ich kann dafür nicht meine Hand ins Feuer legen, aber ich werde alles probieren, dass wir das hinbekommen. Tomb Raider sollte zu dem Zeitpunkt auf einem Stand der Entwicklung sein, dass wir nicht nur es präsentieren können, sondern auch hands-on liefern können. Also das ist das Ziel. Aber es wird auf jeden Fall etwas Neues zu Tomb Raider auf der Gamescom. Weil man arbeitet immer so auf mögliche Events hin. Maybe E3 is the next kind of big PR event, and then Gamescom probably. So ich denke, da sind genug Möglichkeiten, um das zu machen.
We've got lots and lots and lots of plans for 2012. It's going to be a big year.
Tell us.
I can't, but we just, like, one of the big things I've been working on a lot, is the 15-year anniversary thing. Did you guys see that? We just announced it, so that's a fun, exciting thing that just came out. It's going to go through all of October, so hopefully that'll help tide you guys over a little bit until we start talking again next year.
But also very important for especially for you guys who are here today, but also maybe for you guys who you talk about this day today and the other fans who couldn't come today, is that even before E3 or Gamescom, what will happen next year, this kind of community day, the whole setup, our kind of open office for you guys, we will repeat that. I would say minimum once or twice next year. So whatever will come from Tomb Raider, we will keep you updated, and we will invite you again if you like, and then come in again and see the progress and talk with us about it. I don't know if you have the opportunity to come again, but we certainly.
If they'll send me, I'll come out.
All right.
I love traveling.
Yeah.
So.
But we certainly will do that. So you don't have to wait again until Gamescom to come in again and see the progression. Which we very often do also for Final Fantasy and Hitman or other games which are in development right now. So I mean, the best way is really to keep close with us with our YouTube channel or Facebook website. Whenever there's a community event or something like this, we will announce 10-15 days beforehand.
You said before the last 3 games were a story that is now completed, that has ended. Will the new game be a story all in itself, or is it planned to stretch it over several games maybe?
We are starting from scratch with the franchise, so we are looking to continue this as a franchise. This is just the first step, and we're obviously extremely focused on this first step because we have to lay such a strong foundation for the rest of the franchise. But I mean, Carl has said, and because I've got this question before, we're planning to continue the franchise after this. We just got to make sure we nail it on the head the first time. So.